on it.
All right. Well, I had Emily Dolan as a student in my communication law class some years ago, and I'm having a hard time remembering exactly when that was. Um, it's funny. I see students who have graduated, and I say, you've been out what 3-4 years now, and they say, Dr. Flynn, I've been out for 10 years, so I lose track. But I do remember Emily Dolan as a student. She was quiet in class, but over the course of the semester, I became more and more impressed with the work that she was doing, and she left quite an impression on me. In the class at that time, all students were assigned 3 case briefs, and they were also assigned a number of hypothetical cases that they had to, as a judge, make a ruling on. And it was a lot of fun, and a lot of students really enjoyed that element, and the rest of them just kind of fought their way through it. But you could see that there were some students who would get excited about what they were being asked to do, and I know Emily was one because of the quality of the work she was turning in. I do remember that she was assigned Brandenburg versus Ohio, which is a controversial First Amendment case that really, in my mind, kind of gives us all free speech. I argue that in the United States, we really didn't have complete free speech until that case. But what's ironic about that case is that Brandenburg was a leader of an Ohio Ku Klux Klan chapter. So here's this leader of the Ku Klux Klan. He's arrested, and he argues that his speech is protected by the First Amendment. Case gets all the way to the Supreme Court, and lo and behold, the Supreme Court rules in his favor, saying that any speech, if the government is going to punish speech, your speech has to lead to incite to imminent violence. So the great irony of that case is that, yeah, indeed, here's a Ku Klux Klan leader who basically expands all of our free speech rights, which is a good thing. And I know, I had a sense that she struggled with that. Like, here's this Klan guy, how does he win? Well, the Supreme Court looks at the principle involved, not at the people involved. Very similar to the People versus Larry Flint. Here's this pornographer who does this terrible ad about Jerry Falwell and his mother in an outhouse. And the Supreme Court holds that it is protected speech as well. So yeah, Emily was a really sharp student in my class. And I know she graduated and she went off to grad school, and I hadn't seen her or thought about her in some time, and I run into her at a conference in Chicago. I'm going out the door, she's coming in, and she says, Dr. Flynn. And so we chat real quick, and we agree to meet for breakfast the next day. And so we go and we have breakfast and have a nice conversation. I catch up on where she is. She's in the midst of her PhD at the University of Buffalo. She is working with one of the most impressive scholars that I've met in recent years, named Tom Feely, who was I saw him at a conference, and he did this great keynote speech on the research that he's doing on network analysis. So I knew she was working with a real top-notch researcher. And she told me about the work she was doing there. So that was pretty fascinating to know that she was doing cutting-edge research. And when her application came in for the position here last year, I knew this is somebody that we needed to take a look at. Somebody who's doing the actual research, in communication theory, in persuasion, is the type of faculty member that we need to be looking at. So I think she's going to have great promise and is a great addition to our department.